spotlight that comes with an NBA national broadcast. So he loved every bit of what Caitlin Clark did and what she brought to the broadcast. Now, this is where he started talking a little bit about having Caitlin Clark back more than that March 29th announcement. So it says NBC Sports is planning to bring Clark back later this season. Cordella confirmed that she is scheduled to appear as an analyst for the Knicks versus Thunder on March 29th. As we know, he also added that he hopes to see more of Clark moving forward, signaling that the door is open for additional appearances. While no expanded role has been formally announced, the comment suggested genuine interest rather than casual praise. So, hey man, I don't know. We might see Caitlin working that booth. That'd be dope though, man. That'd be dope. Of course, with everything going on with the WNBA, we don't even know if we're gonna.
Nobody wants to admit this part, but the story didn't start with Caitlin Clark, it started with Angel Reese. Before the season settled, before ratings meant anything, before revenue charts existed, Angel Reese was the loudest presence in the room. Cameras followed her, debates circled her, social media revolved around her, and the league leaned into it because visibility sells, controversy sells, confidence sells, or so they thought. For a moment, it felt like she was the center of the universe. But behind closed doors, attention wasn't the metric that mattered. Money was. And money doesn't care who talks the loudest, it cares who makes people stay. That's where Caitlin Clark quietly changed everything. At first, she wasn't supposed to disrupt the plan. Just another rookie, another star in a shared spotlight, another piece of balanced growth. That illusion shattered fast. Early data told an uncomfortable story. Heavily promoted games spiked engagement but couldn't hold viewers, merch buzz didn't convert, excitement faded quickly. But when Caitlin Clark appeared, people didn't just click, they stayed. Executives tried to downplay it. College hype fades. Curiosity cools. Until NBC happened. What was supposed to be a harmless crossover turned into a stress test the system wasn't ready for. Clark didn't chase attention, didn't perform for the moment, didn't posture. She dissected the game like she belonged on that stage. And millions locked in instantly. Inside NBC, producers noticed something chilling. Viewership didn't dip during her segment, it rose. When she spoke, audiences stayed. When she stopped, they left. Across platforms, the same pattern repeated. That's when the truth became impossible to ignore. Not all attention is equal, and not every star holds power. Caitlin Clark didn't just draw eyes.
Didn't
She
stumble
controlled
onto
them.
this. He was given the data. He saw the NBC breakdown. He saw the revenue curves. That's why his tone was calm. Calm means certainty. On live television, he didn't attack Angel Reese. He didn't diminish her skill. He didn't insult. He compared impact. He compared reach. He compared revenue. And then he said the sentence that ended everything. This isn't close. That wasn't commentary. That was closure. Once Stephen A. says something isn't close, the audience understands the implication. Angel Reese went quiet. And silence in moments like this is devastating. But the story didn't end there. Because Patrick Bet-David saw something else entirely. Where Stephen A. framed it as sports reality, Patrick framed it as business failure. He asked the question no league once asked publicly.
Before she ever came along,
moved faster, stayed longer, and traveled far beyond basketball circles. That's when someone inside the building finally said the sentence nobody wanted on record, "She's the draw." Those words didn't stay contained. They leaked. And the moment they reached league offices, panic followed. Because the numbers from that NBC night weren't just strong, they were destructive. Projections that took months to carefully model were shattered in a single evening. Advertisers noticed. Media partners noticed. Owners noticed. One owner,
before she ever came along,
sources, demanded a
there were a
side-by-side
lot
comparison
of outstanding
before NBC,
basketball
after NBC.
players who
The
happened to be
difference
black
wasn't
females
subtle, it was violent.
that
Viewership
was doing their
multiplied.
thing on the
Revenue
WNBA
forecasts
level.
exploded.
And they never got this
Merchandise
kind of shine.
demand surged. And
This
next to
girl, the
every
Golden
spike,
Goose, comes
the
along.
same name appeared again and again.
She
Caitlin
wreaks
Clark.
havoc. She's
That's
the
when
rookie of the
optics
year.
stopped matching.
She's fourth in
In
the
a
league
private
in
meeting not
MVP
meant
voting.
to leave the room, the owner
Fourth in the
said
league,
it
her
plainly.
rookie year.
Revenue
Wow.
didn't grow
Outstanding.
evenly,
Can
it
you pull up this
multiplied.
quote?
That
She said, "By
sentence
the time
leaking
she
was fatal
retires,
because
she will be the
multiplied
MJ
implies imbalance.
Go
It
to
implies a
England,
missing
Jamil
engine.
Hill.
It implies
Having
one
Jamil
person is
Hill.
doing work
Yeah.
others aren't.
She says,
And
by the
suddenly,
time she
Angel
retires,
Reese
Jamil
wasn't
Hill
part of the
has made a bold
conversation
prediction
anymore.
that Angel
Not because
Reese
she lacked
will become
talent,
the
not
MJ
because
of
she
the
lacked
WNBA
fans,
by the time
but
she
because
retires.
she didn't
That's what
move
she
the
said.
numbers.
Okay.
That kind
Okay.
of shutdown
Let me
doesn't
continue.
require insults.
All right.
It
So now-
requires receipts. Journalists picked up the scent next. Quiet confirmations, off-the-record nods. Enough smoke to confirm fire. Then Stephen A. Smith entered the picture, not guessing, not speculating. He was shown the data. He saw the NBC breakdown. He saw the revenue curves. That's why his tone was calm. Calm means certainty. On live television, he didn't attack Angel Reese. He didn't question her skill. He didn't insult. He compared impact. He compared reach. He compared revenue. And then he said the sentence that closed the debate. This isn't close. That wasn't commentary, that was a verdict. When Stephen A. says something isn't close, the audience understands what that means. Angel Reese went quiet, and silence in moments like this is devastating. But the story didn't stop there, because Patrick Bet-David saw something deeper. Where Stephen A. framed it as sports reality, Patrick framed it as a business failure. And he asked the question the league never dared to ask out loud.
So now,
If she leaves tomorrow, what happens to the money? He answered it himself. If Caitlin Clark leaves, everything drops. That wasn't a hot take. That was an economic warning. Patrick didn't talk about talent. He didn't talk about personality. He talked about dependency. And dependency is terrifying. Because once you admit dependence on one player, leverage shifts instantly. Owners felt it. Media partners felt it. Marketing departments felt it. Angel Reese wasn't attacked publicly by the league. She was removed from future planning. That's worse. No statements. No defense. No confrontation. Just absence. Behind closed doors, internal conversations changed tone. Words like balance disappeared. New phrases appeared. Growth leader. Primary driver. Key asset. Those words weren't used for Angel Reese. They were reserved for Caitlin Clark. Then came the second leap. An internal chart showing projected revenue growth after NBC. 10x. That number circulated quietly at first. Then loudly. Once fans saw it, the debate ended. Because debates survive on uncertainty. Numbers erase uncertainty. Angel Reese's earlier confidence now felt exposed. Not because she spoke incorrectly, because she spoke too early. The system she trusted didn't protect her.
The
Caitlin
system
in that
she
class
trusted
by
didn't
now.
protect her because the system itself was changing in real time. Once dependence was acknowledged, loyalty stopped matching. Optics stopped matching. Only gravity mattered. And gravity had shifted toward Caitlin Clark. Inside those rooms, nobody said Angel Reese failed. That would imply fairness. Instead, they reframed the future without her in it. Calendars were redrawn. Campaigns recentered. Media strategies quietly pivoted. When new partnerships were discussed, Clark's name came first, sometimes the only name. That's how power works when it's undeniable. No press release. No apology. Just exclusion. And that's what Patrick Bet-David was really warning about. When one player becomes the economic engine, everyone else becomes optional. Not irrelevant, optional. The league didn't plan for that scenario because leagues never believe one player can outweigh the structure. Until it happens. And now every conversation circles back to the same fear. If Clark controls the attention, she controls the money. If she controls the money, she controls the leverage. And if she controls the leverage, the league isn't managing its future anymore, it's reacting to it. Angel Reese didn't lose a rivalry. She lost timing. She bet on a system that assumed balance. Caitlin Clark exposed a system built on imbalance. That's why the silence around Angel feels so loud. That's why the planning rooms feel different. And that's why, whether anyone wants to admit it or not, the league has crossed a line it can't uncross. From this point forward, every decision answers one question first. How does this affect Caitlin Clark? Because once the money follows one player, the power always follows right behind it.
Caitlin in that class by not being prepared for it, and the fact that so many journalists across the country, institutions failed to cover this league, like there's just so many institutionalized failings that now the league is attempting to hurdle over.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest thing just as far as the product on the floor? Because a lot of people talk about physicality. A lot of people talk about the referees. I actually did a deep dive in one of my episodes talking about like who the referees are calling to, essentially, and where the W gets their referees. But as far as the product, because at the end of the day, fans are not going to stick around if it's not a good product, period.
Right.
Like, they have to be there for the basketball, and I think a lot of casual fans got pulled into the W because Caitlin had such a different game that was, like, just very, very exciting to watch, and she's an incredible player. So they're there. Now they're seeing this product. They're like, oh, this is cool. There's other players that I'm, like, getting super invested in. But a lot of people have called out, like, physicality, referees. Have you heard anything from players, owners, like any of your sources about them actively working on improving the product?
Yeah, I mean, officiating, like, I know everyone thinks, like, this is all about Caitlin and the way Caitlin is officiated. Across the league, coaches, like, this has been an issue. Like, go back.
We saw Coach Cheryl Reeve crash out.
Cheryl Reeve is the crash out queen.
Over the officiating. Yeah, it was, like, one of the best crash outs ever.
But, like, go back to, God, like Candace's rookie year, there's a game she gets laid out, like, and multiple. Like, go back to all of these players. It's crazy what they all went through. And so obviously there are more eyes on the league. So there's the way that the physicality around Caitlin was obviously layered in the sense of, like, she's this phenom coming into the league, like everyone's talking about her. So we've got all these vets who, again, it's the same when Candace came into the league, when Diana, when there's a generational player that comes into the league, and it's in men's sports too, the messaging is, okay, this is our league. Like,
it moved on, and Caitlin Clark never flinched. No tweets fired back, no interviews chasing the noise, no acknowledgement of Stephen A., no response to Patrick Bet-David. She stayed quiet, stayed locked in, talked only about basketball, and somehow that calm made everything unravel around her even louder. Because humility backed by results doesn't ask for permission, it takes space. Behind closed doors, owners started admitting something they never wanted to say out loud. We need her. And need hits different than want. Want can be replaced. Need comes with leverage. That realization shifted the entire gravity of the league. Angel Reese wasn't cut, wasn't criticized, wasn't publicly sidelined. She was simply no longer essential. And in professional sports, that's the quiet ending nobody announces. By the end of the month, the league's messaging had changed completely. Focus narrowed. Comparisons disappeared. Balance talk evaporated. The system had made its choice. This wasn't revenge. This wasn't hate. This was exposure. One NBC night revealed who actually drives attention when no one is forcing it. Caitlin Clark didn't chase records to make a statement. She broke them because she was ready when the door opened. Angel Reese didn't fail.